Hi and welcome to my video, and today I'm talking about my Saeco Barista machine, and it's getting a new life. It's its second life. You can buy these Saeco Barista machines. Mine's kind of got that dark gray, but they come in all different colors. And it's made in Italy, and they're about $400 Canadian when they came out at Starbucks. And I got mine on Craigslist, secondhand, but it was in quite new condition and still in the box. And so there's my machine. I've had it for about 5 years maybe, and yeah, it's an espresso machine, and it's got a 52 watt pump, Ulka pump, ULKA, Ulka pump, and it's got a steam wand right here for making your steamed milk or whatever. And my latest purchase is this grinder here. So this grinder is sort of they don't make it anymore. It's like a huge hunk of iron. It's heavy. It's got a doser in it. And yeah, you put your coffee in there, and then you can adjust the grind with this dial. And it was used. I got it on Craigslist, and it's kind of like an industrial grinder, and I can grind it, the coffee, right down to powder. And then I also got this tamper, which is handy. You gotta get the right tamper size to get the correct diameter to fit your portafilter. And so if you buy one of these machines, you really get a full-fledged espresso machine, because it's got a 52 watt pump, which is quite a strong pump. And the insides of this Saeco machine are quite similar to a lot of Italian-made home espresso machines. So underneath here is where the portafilter goes, and you can decompress the portafilter. You can take out some of the internals of the portafilter, and then it's like a free-flowing portafilter. So I'm quickly going to talk about servicing this unit now. Because of I think it's US and Canada standards, what you'll find if you buy one of these Saeco machines is that this piece on the pump is plastic, and you know, the threads or whatever broke on mine and it leaked, and so I did kind of a bodge where I used epoxy and a piece of electrical conduit, a hose clamp, and a piece of like I think it was 3/8 plumbing PVC or plastic pipe there, and kind of bodged the whole thing together. And it's because it's under a lot of pressure. But if you get the 52 watt 110 volt Ulka pump, it's an EAP5 or an EAX5 pump, ULKA, and you're at about $40. I plan on getting if this fails, I'm going to get the brass one, because there's the same pump but with a brass fitting here, and that stands up to a lot of pressure. I mean, it's metal, and it screws into this relief valve. So anyways, if you want to know how it works, there's the pump here. The water comes into this side of the pump. It's a vibrational pump. Comes out here. There's a relief valve, and then it goes into the boiler. And then there's another valve underneath the boiler. And you can take everything apart, and if you pull this 2mm screw, Allen key right here where my finger is, you can completely unscrew this and take it out, and then you have access to your pump. You can pull the 4 bolts on the top of the pump. I would take the boiler, I would take the pump out first. You can take one screw here, one screw here, and take off the hoses. This hose you're going to have to be careful with, because you have to use vice grips and a monkey wrench to get this one off. Hold this part. After you take these 2 bolts off, pull the pump out, and then hold this part with the vice grips, and then turn this with the monkey wrench, and that'll remove, and then you can finger loosen it the rest of the way, and then this hose will pull out, and you can take this wire, the red wire, off, and then this white wire is like, you can just pull it apart, and you can just take this red wire off, and then the whole pump comes out, and then you can work on the boiler. And the easy access to the boiler is because you can take off, like I said, pull this out, and then you don't even have to detach any of these wires. You can just lift the whole thing up, and you have access to it. You can pull these 4 bolts, and then go underneath and pull the 4 bolts underneath. There's one Phillips screw for the shower. It's called a shower plate, I think. The shower plate, the water plate underneath. There's like a Phillips, and then you can take the whole boiler apart. And what you'll find is that there's a valve inside the boiler, and you can look at that valve and check it, because if that valve is sticky, then that's a critical point right there. So anyways, I did the whole service on this machine, and I was able to clean up everything, clean the boiler. The boiler was a little bit dirty. I cleaned it out. I cleaned the valve out, put it all back together again. As I said, I left all the wires together, which is nice. So once you take this off, just with this bolt, and then unscrew this, then you can leave all the wires and just lift it up. And once you pull those bolts, you can completely take the lower part of the boiler out. And then there's a big piece of aluminum chunk there on the bottom. You can take that out and clean it all out. And there's a big rubber piece you can take out, and then put it all back together again, and make sure all the wires are tight and all the hoses are tight, and start it up, and hopefully you'll have no leaks. And yeah, I did a bodge here. I don't expect anybody's going to attempt to do this bodge, because it took me quite a few tries to get this to make it to work so it didn't leak, because there's a lot of pressure between the pump and this hose. There's so much pressure that I used rubber tubing, and it just blew the tubing up like a bike wheel. So I wouldn't attempt that. But anyways, it's actually working now, and yeah, so kind of level 2 of my espresso machine. So if you have any questions, let me know. And yeah, and then you can have fun with grinding, playing with the grind of the coffee, and it's basically a completely new experience to the pressurized portafilter. So yeah, I hope you enjoy that. Cheers.